Brilliant, magnifique, chef's kiss right here. We have ourselves a prospect update to go with the Vancouver Canucks, and their top guy out of the 2021 and 2022, NHL Entry Draft. Right, they didn't have a 2021 first because that was traded away in the OEL deal. But when it comes to the guy taken 15th overall by Vancouver, as we had said in 2022, Jonathan Lekkerimaki, we have ourselves an update that I think is a really, really good one to see. So, Lekkerimaki, as we had talked about in the prior few videos here on the channel, had himself a really odd year. He had a bunch of injuries, he was sick for a while too, and at the start of the season, a lot of Canucks fans, myself included, were kind of saying, okay, what's going on here? We need to see some progression out of this guy. He had been playing better in the SHL last year than he was in the Allsvenskan this year. What's going on? And there was the World Juniors thrown in there where he was okay. I mean, he had 4.7 games played, but for the most part, Lekkerimaki didn't really show off all that made him a great prospect until the postseason, when he was healthy, up to snuff, and able to play for Djurgården to the best of his capabilities. He scored 15 points in 15 games played in the playoffs, and we had made our videos talking about how that was good, how he really improved, how he was getting that playmaking side to his game up there, and for the most part, this was a pretty alright year. Just holistically, it was alright, especially if you just kind of isolate the playoff performance that he ended up accomplishing. But Jonathan Lekkerimaki has his future set in place, because, as we had talked about in the prior video, Djurgården did not advance back into the SHL. They stayed in the Allsvenskan, so they're most likely, or I think they already have, lost out on 3 of their young guys. Noah Östlund's over there, Lekkerimaki, and then of course you've got Liam Ugren. But when it comes to Lekkerimaki, we had ourselves Rick Dhaliwal going out there and giving us the update. He has signed a 2-year deal with Orebro in the SHL. Now, this is a pretty great move, and we'll get into why this is in a second. Rick Dhaliwal also says, though, former Canucks goaltender Johan Hedberg is the coach for Lekkerimaki at Orebro, who also happens to be friends with Canucks GM Patrik Allvin. The Canucks also had themselves a big say in where Lekkerimaki ended up, because the Canucks do have Lekkerimaki under contract. He does technically belong to Vancouver, and there is an out clause in the contract, so he can come over to Vancouver at any time if he wants. Dhaliwal confirmed this on Twitter. He can leave any time for Vancouver, and we also had ourselves another press release made on the Orebro Hockey website welcoming Jonathan Lekkerimaki. Or Jonathan, right, he's Swedish. Let's go out there, translate this article into English, and we'll read the entire thing over here. Orebro Hockey can today welcome Jonathan Lekkerimaki to their club. He ranks as one of the country's top talents, born in 2004. Last summer, Jonathan was drafted by Vancouver as a player at the 15th overall spot in the first round, and as recently as just a week ago, he had signed his first NHL deal. The 18-year-old forward has represented Djurgården since his junior years and has played on the national team for the last 2 seasons. Now it's clear that Jonathan is joining Orebro Hockey, and the agreement extends over the 2024-2025 season. Lekkerimaki says this: "First of all, I am determined to come to Orebro, and it'll be fun to play in the SHL and be part of a strong team. I've received a good impression from all the leaders and coaches I have met, and I will have all the conditions to take the next step in my career." We also had Nicholas Eriksson. He is the current sports manager for Orebro. He was recently the head coach for this team, but it appears that he does not have that title anymore based off of elite prospects and their team staff profile. Anyways, he says, "We are incredibly happy to be able to welcome Jonathan. He is a top player in his age group, and he has enormous potential. We are bringing in an offensively skilled player who will be involved and make a difference going forward, and the fact that we can add another right-handed shooter has been important to us. It's great that Jonathan chose to come to us to take the next step in his career, and we look forward to working with Jonathan in our environment." Nicholas and Johan Hedberg have had a close dialogue with Vancouver and their GM Patrik Allvin. In the past, Elias Pettersson also signed a contract with Vancouver, and Nicholas Eriksson explains here how that dialogue came about. Of course, we had good talks with Vancouver and with Allvin at the helm. Both Elias and Jonathan will go over to Vancouver summer camp in July, and then they'll be back with us fully when we start the preseason. And that is also another aspect of this entire conversation that we did not bring up just yet. Elias Pettersson, or DPD, the second Elias Pettersson. He is a Vancouver Canucks prospect who also is a part of the Orebro Hockey Club. He actually played with the team for last season's worth of play, and sure, he didn't produce too many points. I mean, he had 7 points in 43 games played, But, I mean, the guy's a defenseman taken in the 3rd round last year, playing in the SHL at 18 years old. You can't really expect too much out of this player immediately. But still, he played a pretty alright game, a pretty solid game, a calm, sort of poised, composed type of game, and you really just hope that that carries over into higher levels of play as he continues his Orebro career. As he gets more minutes, as he gets more comfort at this level, it'll be nice to see him eventually translate into the AHL and maybe the NHL, but of course, Elias Pettersson definitely does have some work to go through as well. It's just having him alongside of Lekkerimaki is going to be very nice, because now the Vancouver Canucks fanbase, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Watch both prospects when you're only watching 1 hockey game, so it works out for the best of everybody involved here. The Vancouver Canucks can localize their prospect development. They've got people in the Orebro system they could trust and that they know. Orebro benefits because they're getting some legitimately alright players, and the fans here in Vancouver can kind of relax a little bit when keeping up to date with our prospects. Maybe Chris Faber is going to have his job cut for him a little bit easier now that 2 prospects are on the same team. But when it comes to Lekkerimaki, though, I'm honestly kind of intrigued as to seeing where he's going to go from here. We had already noted back in his draft season, he had 9 points in 26 games played and 7 goals with Djurgården before having the season this year where he was, unfortunately, not as productive for most of it. However, if the playoffs is an indicator of the talent that he has, he could very well go over there into Orebro and maybe get himself, let's say, half a point a game? If we're trying to get reasonable expectations out of there. If he gets more than that, then okay, great, that's more than fine with me. If he's able to go out there and sort of build on that momentum he had last time he was in the SHL, we might be on the cusp of seeing a legitimately good breakout season, and especially if Orebro really does place that amount of emphasis on having a right-handed sniper that is younger and has a lot of talent at his disposal too. If they really want to go out there and use him to the best of his ability, then this could be a pretty good reason for the Vancouver Canucks to have chosen Orebro as the destination. Of course, they said Jonathan chose the destination, but the Canucks had a lot of input, according to Rick Dhaliwal, as to where this was going to go. So having Lekkerimaki and Pettersson together, pretty good. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about these players over there? I actually do have a question as well. If you are in Sweden and you're a fan of the Orebro HK, the hockey club over there, what are your opinions about this? If you want, we can make some more videos over the course of next season, just kind of going over what's happening, the prospect updates. We're always going to have prospect update videos as things come and go. But if you're a fan of Orebro, what's your thought process about this player coming over to your team? If you're a fan of Djurgården, what are your thoughts on him and how he had played in the postseason for you guys earlier this year? He had a really good postseason, but I just want to get some thoughts out there from anybody that was watching the games per se, just what his strengths were, what he thought he improved upon, and how he really rebounded after the injuries and the illness that he suffered through. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.